Hello, everybody. It's Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And as you can see, I have a friend with me. This is Martin Rutte, and he is an amazing man, an amazing friend that I actually met at TLC, at Transformational Leadership Council. And I wanted to have him on the show because one of my first TLC events, he did this amazing thing where he stood up and he had everybody in the audience remember a space of, or a memory of when they felt like they had heaven on earth. And the vibration in the room just completely raised as everybody just started thinking about it was the birth of their child, or when their child got married, or when they got married, or, you know, all these just special moments that if you were asked, how do you feel, or what was heaven on earth for you so far? And when you think about those things, it makes you feel good, right? But most of us, you know, there's a desire in each one of us for a world that just works. And there's a longing for the recurring problems of the planet, like war and hunger and disease and hatred and lack and suffering and poverty and all that stuff, to merely just get better and just to end once and for all, right? Just to be gone so that we can experience heaven on earth. So Martin's new book is Project Heaven on Earth, the 3 simple questions that will help you change the world easily. Because as I said, and Martin, you probably don't even know this, but I said in my very first book 15 years ago that heaven or hell are not destinations that we get to. They're a state of mind. It's not somewhere you go after. It's something that you're living each day, moment to moment. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Why are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing just because I enjoy not laughing at you, just laughing and enjoy it being with you. I think when we met at TLC, we had this instant connection, and it's just gone deeper with your husband and with your 2 boys and with you. Yeah. And there's something magic. There's something, I don't know, there's a deep connection here. And then when we're coming down, when was it, 1 or 2 summers ago? We happened to both be on the same airplane going to Phoenix, I guess it was, or wherever. Yeah, I didn't even know that. And there you were walking on with the family. And I thought, here we go again. Yes.
And then we had this wonderful, we got on the same transportation to go, I think it was in
Mirabel?
Cabo. It was in Cabo. And we were in a car and we just started having this conversation about purses and my second new coming book, The Desire Factor, and all these, you know, wonderful just conversations. So I agree with you, and my kids love you. They're like excited to see you again, and my husband, of course, adores you. So, and I just appreciate what you're bringing and the awareness that you're bringing, that everybody can create heaven on earth. So for me, raised Catholic and nothing wrong with any religion. I'm not here to anything, but for me, I always thought as a kid growing up in that training that it was, heaven was somewhere with the pearly gates, and there's this big man sitting on a cloud with a big beard, and he's the, judging God, and he's going to let you get in or not. And this is a place where all puffy clouds and unicorns live. This is heaven. And then there's hell with the guy with the pitchfork, and, it's all fiery and just doesn't feel good, right? So it was like this image of that's what it was. To know that it's like they're not destinations, the heaven and hell are a choice that we make in every moment. So I'd love for you to describe that and why you just really felt you had to write this book.
Let me just a little bit about me. First of all, your audience doesn't know, but I'm a management consultant, and I've worked with large companies, Marion Merrill Dow, Sony Pictures, Virgin Records. I've spoken to Harvard Business School 4 times. So I'm in that mindset of results and producing results. And, 20 years ago, I had this thought, I'm not happy with the results in the world. There's this tsunami of bad things happening. And could I do something about it? And then this thought came into my mind, oh, you mean heaven on earth? And I can remember Christy thinking, you can't say that. And I thought, well, wait a minute. We can talk about hell on earth, can't we? That's a permissible conversation. So why can't we talk about heaven on earth? And that began this inquiry for me. And one of the things that really struck me is when I asked people, where's heaven? or tell me about heaven. What is heaven, rather? Most people say, like you did, it's the place we go after death. It's the place upstairs. It's a place where God and the angels live. It's not here and not now. That is one of the fundamental underlying misbeliefs about heaven. I mean, would God want heaven only to be there and not here? I don't think so. Would God want, I mean, do we want, God and us, hunger, war, no. So is there something we can do about it? And I said, yes, let's start this inquiry. So it boiled down to, after I asked over and over and over again, what's heaven on earth? What's not heaven, but heaven on earth here now?
Yes.
And these three questions that emerge. And so the first question, actually, I'd love you to answer it and have your audience answer it as well, if you're willing.
Yes, absolutely. I've done this before and it's fun. So.
Okay, good. Recall a time when you experienced heaven on earth. What was going on?
I just had it last night. I was cuddled up on the couch with Alex right here, literally on one side of me, Maxim over here on the other side of me. They can't touch each other, right? So they're both have their bodies on top of me as close as they can get me. And then my husband's next to Maxim. And it was just that moment of like just love surrounding me.
Wonderful. So that's question one. And by the way, these questions are on projectheavenonearth.com, and a little plug for my new book.
Which is an amazing book. I highly recommend it. You can all go underneath the video if you want to learn more about Martin's work and, all about the book underneath. We're just going to put a link, make it easy. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the second question is, imagine you have a magic wand. And with this wand, you can have heaven on earth. What's heaven on earth for you?
I feel like I have it. I feel like I live it. It's knowing I'm free. I have choices, that I'm empowered to make those choices, that I have the means to make the choices, that I have people around me that support me and love me and like genuinely support me and love me. And I have just really amazing people that I get to experience my life with and friends and deep connections. And I'm friends with, look how strange our relationship is, like you and I couldn't be more opposite. And yet we have this deep soul connection. It's so funny, and I have many friends like that now that back years ago, I wouldn't have even imagined that would even be possible, so that for me, I feel like I already live that. And in the moments when I don't feel I have it, I forget that connection. I forget that I already have what I want.
And any other thoughts about the world, what you'd like heaven on earth to be for the entire world? For
humanity? Oh, yeah. I would love everybody to be coming from a place of alignment and knowing who they are, and knowing who they are from a sense that they're not in competition with anybody else, that there's nobody taking or stealing, nobody's a victim. I would love to see everybody freed of being inside the drama triangle, to live without pain and suffering and believing that that's the way it has to be, and to be able to navigate through what they don't want easier, to get off focused off the problems, and when contrast happens, and to get on a space of like, okay, what are the solutions? What do we want instead? I want them to know how to navigate in this universe with the universal laws and how they can apply it, and that it literally is a peaceful place to be, and we get to just enjoy our lives with each other. We can enjoy the roads with each other, with everybody being considerate. We can allow people to have their own perspectives of what they think God is, or Allah, or whatever, that we can all just go about living our lives, not from a place of protection and having to kill or hurt anybody, but from a place of love, from a birthing of love. So that's what I'd want.
Very clear. Well, let's take the would out. That is what you want. That's not what I would want.
That is what I want. Absolutely.
Good. Third question. What simple, easy, concrete step will you take in the next 24 hours to move all of that, the personal and the global, forward?
Well, first of all, I know how important it is to work with energy. So I'm going to do a meditation, and I always do this, but I'm going to continue to do a meditation to surround the globe with even that much more clarity of that I just said to you, with that level of vibration, that level of intention, I'm going to focus on me and my own alignment. And, when I'm not, to get back in it. I believe that it starts with me first. I'm going to do my best to be authentic in the way I am with everybody that I know and people I see and strangers that are on the road. I mean, people that I have a sphere of energetic connection with and beyond, I'm going to stay in that space of light and alignment.
Very clear. So let's go through the 3 questions again. Recall a time when you experienced heaven on earth and you answered it very clearly. Chrissy, what everybody does not do, and you also did not do it, is say, what do you mean by heaven on earth? People never ask that. People do what you did, which is you answered the question. So in order to answer that question, you must know what heaven on earth is. It's what I call the already knowing within you. The second question, the magic wand, removes the necessity of having to know how. And if you don't have to know how, you can go directly to the what, which you did very clearly. People know what heaven on earth is. And then the third question, what simple, easy, concrete steps is to get you into action now within the next 24 hours so that this idea, this possibility of heaven on earth doesn't just remain as such. It remains something that we are consciously in action about, either by doing something new as your contribution to heaven on earth, or something you're already doing, in your case, the meditation, and adding to that, and now this is also my contribution to heaven on earth.
Yeah.
So we have people now all around the world who have engaged in this process called, this is heaven on earth for me, and this is what I'm doing to make that happen.
I can already feel it, just the vibration of it. I mean, I just already feel different just in my focus. And I felt good before.
So maybe a couple of examples of what people are doing.
Yes.
I think, and the book, another plug for the book, has a whole chapter called Heaven Makers. So there's a woman who's embedded her definition of heaven on earth at the bottom of her email that goes out to everybody in the world. There is a program started to help end violence against women in Canada, in which they were asked to donate a penny a day to help end violence against women. And the program was called Making Change. Brilliant. A real estate agency that asked for $100 from each agent off their commission for each sale of a home or a building. They've raised $140,000. They've started a program called A Home for Everyone.
Wow.
People have taken on their own country. We have a woman in Croatia, somebody in Hungary, Denmark, Austria, each of whom has said, my country is a heaven on earth country. And so I never know what level they're, and I remember asking the woman from Austria, you're taking on your entire country? Why? And she said, well, because it's simple. I went, whoa, okay. So I don't know what simple is. You know what simple is. I'm going to support you. And so, and then the book goes into, because I've asked these questions over and over and over and over, what are called the 8 gateways into heaven on earth. There's inner gateways, outer gateways, relationship gateways, this here now gateway. And so what you can do by reading the book, and it's more than just a book, as you notice when you look through.
It's a journey. It's not just a book you read. It's a journey that you go through. And that's what I love about it, is that there's questions, and, you take the time to integrate and think about it. And you're processing and growing as you read the book. So it's not just let me read the book front to back. It's a pause. It's a, reflect. It's a get clearer and then move on from there too. It's beautifully done.
Thank you. That's I've never heard anyone use the word journey, but that is exactly. I don't want you just to have the idea that heaven on earth is a great idea. While that's lovely, that's not sufficient. I want you to engage and do what's appropriate for you, what's simple and easy. It could be adding your definition to your email. It could be taking on your country, or I don't know. You'll find out when you do it. And that's what's exciting. So as more and more people do this, and here's the real key, what we're doing, Christy, is changing the story of what it means to be a human and what it means to be humanity. That we're now naming the story as we are co-creating heaven on earth. That's what it's called. That's what we're doing unapologetically. We're in.
I love it. And it's so true that when we get more and more people focused with the intention, I mean, that's the basis of law of attraction, right? What you focus on, you get. What you hold inside of yourself as energy, that's what is reflected back. So as you're focused on, what are I used to, in in my other book, The Art of Having It All, I would call it having it all moments. Like, what's that having it all moment, right? What is heaven on earth for you? What are those moments in which, like, I could just look out my window and see a hummingbird come and, try to take the nectar off of the flowers right outside my window. And it's like that moment, just connecting and seeing that nature, the bunny rabbit, going around. For me, if I really embrace myself and really allow myself to be in that moment, then I feel like I'm so present that feels like a heaven on earth moment for me. So it's
last year, the year before, I forgot. Anyway, for an entire year, I had a commitment that every single day I would write down at least 3 heaven on earth moments. And I had to write it. And I did it. Some days I was like a day or two late, but never more than 2 days. And I would always remember. It makes you look, like you just talked about right now. It makes you look and see. And that making you look and see, all of a sudden your perception, right, changes, reality changes. And then it's not only you. You add your husband, your children, the TLC as we grow and grow and grow.
Absolutely. Especially when you can do it with, people like my family. Every night we sit down for dinner, we always sit there and say, we either do, what are we grateful for? So we go around and say things that we're grateful. And sometimes it feels flat to me, like no one's really, I'm like, let's do it again. Let's create a vortex of gratitude. And it's like, let's go around again. And by the other, the next time, it's like the energy has shifted. And that's what we're talking about. This is a beautiful way to get your focus and your attention on how you want to feel. First of all, those questions are brilliant because it really allows you to have, us as humans, we need a visual, we're very visual people, to be able to see that and then to be able to connect with it and feel it. And to do that consistently, to raise our vibration consistently throughout the day, even to look for those moments, then we're living heaven on earth. We're not just like, it's not just a thing that we're projecting or something we're going to get to. It's like, oh, that moment. Because just a moment of seeing that hummingbird and watching her wings and, seeing her fly around. It's like just even 30 seconds of that, I'm like, more expanded. And that expansion based on that 30 seconds will continue until the next moment I get to have, or maybe I hug Frederick. And that's a heaven on earth moment. So it's having and seeing and looking for it all throughout the day.
So I want to point something out to you. What's the title of the book?
Project Heaven on Earth.
But there's another title. You just said it as a project Heaven on Earth. Yes. It's a noun and a verb.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Because if we project heaven on earth, a state of being, and we project heaven on earth, a state of doing, then we have. So being, doing, having.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Embedded in the title is being and doing.
Do you see what I'm talking about? He's amazing. Oh my God. That's awesome.
I was with our friend Pete Bissonette last night. I said, "Do you know the title?" He said, "Yeah, Project." I said, "No, look at it again." He said, "Oh my God, yeah."
That's amazing. Really amazing. I have to share this because this was funny. We're in Napa with everybody, right? And I started having a conversation, or I think one of our very first conversations, and you were asking me, I don't even know how this came up.
At dinner. We're sitting beside each other.
Yeah, but about the purse, right? So Martin was asking me about why I like purses, and I started telling him why. And for me, a purse has always been something that I kind of was my reward if I hit a goal or something like that, because for me it was like that carrot, right? So here's Martin at dinner, and he just takes a purse, and nobody knows what he's doing, but I said, go ahead, take a look. It's very, it's a different kind of leather. It's, like smell it. And he's going through and he's like, can I take stuff out? And he's taken my wallet out. And Mary Morrissey goes, Martin, what are you doing? Like, why are you in her purse? But we were sitting there, and I was saying that I wanted to this, which has evolved, write this book, The Desire Factor. And it was great because you came up with, because it was about purses, right? The pursuit of our desires.
Pursuing your desires.
Yeah. So it was awesome. So I so appreciate you. And I love just our connection. Anything else that you want to share about Project Heaven on Earth?
Heaven on Earth. Well, there's also a free 7-day course if you would like to sign up for that on the website, projectheavenonearth.com. And that'll take you deeper into what we've been talking about. The book, obviously, Project Heaven on Earth. And you can contact me through the website, projectheavenonearth.com. And we are doing this. So I'd love to have you join us.
Awesome. So you can go right below the video. We're going to have everything there. Just click it for you and it'll take you to Martin's world. to join our world. I'm sorry?
No, and Christy's a lot of people's world.
A lot, heaven on earth. I mean, I'm committed to that, you know. I'm committed to that, not only for myself, but it just feels better. But I have one more question for you. You were going to say something?
Well, when you just said I'm committed to it, I don't know if you saw my body jump, because I know that if you say you're committed, watch out, folks. So you just gave me and all of us a huge gift. Thank you.
Aww.
Yeah, you had a question. Yeah, it's true. No, because I get it about you and intention. It's very, very serious.
I am a man.
I get it.
I love it. But here's my last question for you, Martin. So there's a lot of people that have, you know, and I find this with coaching too, that as much as people want to shift and make changes, their earlier education, in my case, it was being Catholic, right? And there was a lot of rules and there was a lot of things that I myself misinterpreted, but it was a long time for me to feel comfortable that having everything be okay, because I grew up in chaos, right? So that was, not only did I have that bringing me up and molding me into who I became, it was also my mom, my sister, my dad. My family dynamics was very chaotic. It was full of drama. You know, it could be going along and everything's good and everything feels good, and then all of a sudden dad's yelling at something and then there's a huge blow up, you know. So it's not a very conducive place to feel heaven on earth, right? And it's almost like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so one of my biggest challenges in my own personal growth was, the better it got, I would feel uncomfortable, because it was like, you know, it wasn't even like a deserve. It was just like, if I feel this good, then what's going to happen? You know, am I going to pay for it later, or is something going to happen? And could I even, the fear was like, if I had it so good and then I lost it all, right? So what would you say, as someone's really wanting to create heaven on earth, and as I commit to create heaven on earth, to be able to be comfortable in the uncomfortableness?
It's interesting. I was talking to somebody yesterday, exactly that phrase, to be comfortable in the uncomfortableness.
Really?
Yeah. It's a brilliant phrase.
And I've never said that before either. Isn't that interesting? So
it's in the space. There's a chapter in the book on misbeliefs, misperceptions and misbeliefs. So one of the things that I've discovered, Chrissy, one of the fundamental beliefs that people have is, this is not heaven on earth, and it can't be. Yeah, there's some good things in my life. We go on vacation here, and you know, I got a new shirt, I got a new purse for a woman, I got whatever. But fundamentally, it can't be. So I'm looking at the fundamental belief we have that it's not heaven on earth and it can't be. And here's all the reasons. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm black. Pick your reason. You know, obviously you're going to justify your reason. So I began to look more and more and more. Where does that come from? Two places. One is, heaven exists only upstairs, only after death, never here now. And nowhere does it say that this is not heaven. that belief that this is not heaven came before the Copernican age, where Copernicus with the telescope, that heaven was like for 6 inches above the ground and continued right up to the sky. Galileo came along with the telescope and looked and didn't see heaven up there. And so was born the belief, this isn't heaven. Heaven is farther, farther, farther out there. So I don't buy that, because if that's true, then no matter what we do, it has to be hell on earth. But who wants, I don't want hell on earth. You don't want it for your family. God, read any of the religious texts. It doesn't say this has to be hell on earth. No. Another fundamental belief is, I wondered, have we ever as humanity experienced heaven on earth? As all of humanity? The answer is yes, when we were in the Garden of Eden. Everything was wonderful, no, right? No war, no pain, no suffering, da-da-da. God said, don't eat from that tree. They ate, they got kicked out. Okay. So I was very interested in that, because that's a fundamental myth of Western society, of Abrahamic religions. And so I'm Jewish. I called the rabbi and I said, when we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, who got kicked out? Was it Adam and Eve, or was it all of us? And he said, no. In Hebrew, it's ha-Adam, the Adam. That is all of mankind. So I said, okay, we got kicked out. And then this question just came to me, and I said to him, does it say anywhere in the Torah, the Bible, that after we got kicked out, that we couldn't go back in? And he said, I don't know. No one's ever asked that. So he goes away, comes back the next day, and he says, no, it doesn't. I can remember falling over in my, what? It doesn't say that? No, it doesn't. They got kicked out. There's 2 verbs, neither of which in Hebrew indicate one way, neither of which. So then I go to Christianity. Christianity, Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, the light, that through me, okay. So there is a way in Christianity called through Christ. What about Islam? Islam says when you die, you go to paradise. Now, the bastardization of that is terrorists who blow themselves and other people up. But there's another interpretation. The Sufis, the mystical branch of Islam, says no, if it's not physical death, it's egoic death. If you die egoically, you're in heaven right now, right here. So those fundamental beliefs about this is not heaven and it can't be are not accurate. And if they're not accurate, then that opens up a huge new possibility for all of us to experience it, to clear our own negative beliefs about it, which is extremely important. That's exactly what you're speaking about. I mean, do you want heaven on earth, or do you want your belief that this isn't and can't be to win? Choose.
Yes.
As a Jain priest once said to me, it's either heaven on earth or hell on earth. In essence, it's your choice, which is what you're saying. So I'm saying, let us choose heaven on earth. I mean, isn't that the ultimate game? As you said earlier, it's not just to, like, for example, make hunger better, feed more people, which is fine, but eliminate hunger.
Make it go away.
And there are books now coming out, The End of Poverty, The End of Illness. If you watch, and I've been watching very carefully, more and more people are talking not about making the suffering better, but about ending the suffering. That's a heaven on earth statement. Yes. That's a little longer answer than you wanted, but it's a very fundamental question that you're asking.
It's huge.
It is huge.
You know, it's funny. We have a friend that gave the boys a Bible, and it's like a kid's Bible. And every night I read with Maxim as part of his homework, but bonding time with him. And so he picked out the kid's Bible because it's like a cartoon, right? And so we're reading it, and all of a sudden we're reading about the Garden of Eden, and we're reading about this serpent, the snake that starts talking to, Eve, and basically it's because of her, or because of the snake that, so he goes, is all this true? Is all this true? We're kicked out. We're kicked out. Like, it's all that. And I go, Max, have you ever met a snake that talked? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I have a hard time believing they had snakes back then that talked, and I'm like, this is a story. And I know I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers with this. And I know you and I have had this conversation, but this is a recalled thing, but it's also like you're saying, it's one person's version. It's one theorist's version. It's one religious version.
And
did it really happen? And like you're saying,
you can reinterpret it in an entirely different way using exactly the same language. I'm not against religion. I just look at it with new eyes.
Yes.
Why would God want to kick us out of the garden and not have us go back in? I think our job is to make this into the garden. Then we're back.
I agree. And like we've talked about before, if there's an apple, I'm sorry, eat the apple. I mean, that's what the desire factor is all about, is we have the divine pouring through us with desires, whether it's a new car or a house to live in or ending, poverty or whatever our desire is to create heaven on earth for everybody. Whatever that desire is, it's something pulling us forth. So if Eve's in the garden, she's like, I'm hungry. That looks good. I want a bite of that apple. I mean, it grew her in that moment. It grew her experience. It shaped who she was. And like you said, you get to still choose to go back. You're never kicked out. But it's a story.
It's a story, and what we're doing is reinterpreting that story. And because of where we are in our stage of evolution as humanity, we're saying we are now consciously co-creating the new story of what it means to be a human and what it means to be humanity. Namely, our new story is heaven on earth. That's the new story. Remember several years ago, you kept hearing, Christy, people saying, well, the current story is not working. Things aren't working. The narrative's not working. We need a new story. But nobody named the new story. So that conversation went away. Well, I'm saying, here's my proposal for the name of the new story.
I love it. And, Van Halen's saying about it too. We want the best of both worlds, right? A little bit of heaven here on earth, but you're saying, no, we don't want a little bit of heaven here on earth. We want heaven to be earth. We want earth to be heaven. We want it to be one and the same.
Why is earth? There was, what was the name of that movie? I can't think of it, where they go out into space and the spaceship breaks down, and then they go back.
It wasn't Interstellar?
No, yeah. It starts with a G. Anyway.
Gravity.
Yeah. Thank you. I went back a second day to watch that. I was so impressed because from their point of view, that is outside Earth looking down, you saw that Earth was in the heavens. Earth is not separate from heaven. This is all heaven. It was a very profound movie for me. Very, very profound.
That's awesome.
So yeah, folks, I invite you, please join in, do your part. You have the unique part that only you can do. Only you can create. And we look forward to that as a contribution to all of us.
Absolutely. Well, you have my commitment.
Yes,
I'm committed to the light. I'm committed to, my way of saying heaven is, I'm committed to the light, and I'm committed to being a light worker. So I've been committed to that for a long time, and I state my commitment even more.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you, Martin. I love you, and I will squeeze you soon.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Remember, go underneath the video, click on the link below, and you can go see Project Heaven on Earth and all the 7-day gift that he has for you to bring heaven on earth, and help you integrate this into your own life. So leave us a comment. Let me know what you're taking away, and have an awesome week. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, and here is a related video to watch right now. Also, check out my free webinars on creating whatever you want in your life using the universal laws that I explain in each webinar. So share your thoughts by leaving a comment and continue the conversation at ChristyWhitman.com.